Members of the Cabinet who are here: Secretary Ron Brown of the Commerce Department, Secretary Federico Pena of the Transportation Department, Energy Secretary Hazel O'Leary, just back from Russia, EPA Administrator Carol Browner, and Jack Gibbons, the President's Science Advisor, Katie McGinty, the head of the Office of Environmental Policy, and others. We are very pleased to have this opportunity to talk about the President's climate change plan, which he will announce in just a moment. And then after the President makes his announcement, I will return to the podium and make these three other introductions at that time. Let me begin by saying that scientists and the environmental community agree that climate change is the highest risk environmental problem the world faces today. The President committed this administration to respond to this problem by issuing a dual directive to reduce our nation's emissions of greenhouse gases to 1990 levels by the year 2000 and to do so in a cost-effective way. After Earth Day, the White House Office on Environmental Policy established a process to produce the plan that is being released today. Industry, non-governmental organizations, people from every walk of life participated very actively. There was a White House conference on global climate change June 10 and 11, where 300 invited participants shared their views with about 800 others who also participated. There were 6 working groups established, an exhaustive interagency process for coming up with the right strategy. And what has resulted is a highly detailed plan that is extremely impressive in the extent to which it addresses absolutely every possibility for reducing greenhouse gas emissions. And I invite your attention to the details of this plan and to the extent of industry participation in this plan. And I want to compliment those leaders of business and industry who have agreed to enter into a large number of agreements that will be signed during the course of this plan, beginning right away after this. And several members of the Cabinet, the ones that were acknowledged earlier, will be joining a number of people from the environmental community and the business community to go through a detailed briefing of the plan after this event. We have a President who recognizes the gravity of the threats to the environment and moves quickly to confront them. This is a big change. A year ago, an administration here was opposed to the Biodiversity Treaty, and today that treaty is law. A year ago, we had gridlock on forests and wetlands. Today, this President is moving ahead with a practical plan to protect our ancient forests and preserve jobs, and a wetlands program that can end the acrimony and polarization of the past. This President has announced executive order after executive order, transforming our government into a leader in pollution prevention and energy efficiency. Ladies and gentlemen, I am confident that the plan the President announces today will do the job effectively, protect our environment, establish the United States as the world leader we must be in confronting this problem, and at the same time enhance our economic strength and produce more jobs. To outline what we plan to do, it is my great pleasure to introduce the President of the United States, who is making this possible, President Bill Clinton.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, first let me thank you all for being here and thank the Vice President, the Cabinet, our science advisor, Katie McGinney, and others who work so hard on this policy. If I might begin by just observing, I was looking at the clouds hoping we didn't have too much of a climate change this morning before the event could unfold. This is an issue which has been of great concern to me for a long time. When I decided to seek this office back in 1991, I did it after having spent more than a decade as a governor, deeply frustrated by what seemed to me too often to be inevitable, persistent, aggravating conflicts between the impulse to promote economic opportunity for the people that I represented and the clear obligation, the moral obligation on all of us to try to preserve this planet that we all share. And anyone with eyes to see could look down the road and recognize that even with imperfect scientific knowledge, at some point the impulse to give people something to do would have to be reconciled with the obligation to preserve the planet we all share. And that if there were ways through the use of technology and partnerships and ingenuity to actually enhance economic opportunities while preserving the planet, how much better off we would all be. That is what we have sought to do in this administration. The Vice President outlined the number of things that we have tried to do to move the environmental agenda forward and at the same time move our economy forward. I remember so well the sort of shocking but bracing and reinforcing feeling I had the first time I began to go to New Hampshire, which is what you have to do in this country if you want to ultimately become president, to find that people just living their own lives in what was then a very economically depressed state also believed that we could find a way and that we had to find a way to pursue our economic objectives and fulfill our moral responsibilities to have an aggressive and responsible program about the environment. That cannot be done unless we change our attitude about what we put into our atmosphere and how we respect the air we breathe. That requires us to meet head-on the serious threat of global warming. I made a commitment to do that on Earth Day this year, to make a commitment to an approach that would draw on the most innovative people we could find in this country, whether they were in business, labor, government, or the environmental movement, to turn this challenge into an opportunity. And that's what this report seeks to do. It seeks to give the American people the ability to compete and win in the global economy while meeting our most deep and profound environmental challenges. We have begun the task of linking our economy to the environment today in what I believe is a truly extraordinary fashion. And I think if all of you read the plan in its exquisite and sometimes mind-bending detail, you will see that it is a very aggressive and very specific first step. I would argue the most aggressive and the most specific first step that any nation on this planet has taken in the face of perhaps the biggest environmental threat to this planet. The task is accomplished primarily by harnessing private market forces, by leveraging modest government expenditures to create a much larger set of private sector investments, and by establishing new public-private partnerships to bring out our best research and our best technologies. This plan takes the environmental debate where it should have been years ago, beyond a confrontation over ideology to a conversation about ideas, beyond polemics to real progress. On Earth Day, I made a commitment to reduce our emissions of greenhouse gases to 1990 levels by the year 2000, and I asked for a blueprint on how to achieve this goal. In concert with all other nations, we simply must halt global warming. It is a threat to our health, to our ecology, and to our economy. I know that the precise magnitude and patterns of climate change cannot be fully predicted, but global warming clearly is a growing long-term threat with profound consequences. And make no mistake about it, it will take decades to reverse. But the first step is before us today. And because most of our recommendations do not require legislation, something which will doubtless please the Congress with all the burdens they have already on their plate, we can take action on our plan beginning today. The action plan reestablishes the United States as a world leader in protecting the global climate. I urge other industrial countries to move rapidly to produce plans as detailed, as realistic, and as achievable as ours. This initiative gives us a chance, a very, very good chance, to reduce greenhouse gases, grow our economy, and create a new high-skilled, high-wage job base in America.